One viewer hypothesized that, what would happen if black holes just started randomly appearing all over Earth? Well, let me put it this way. If you thought your Monday morning commute was bad, wait until there's a stellar mass black hole sitting where your local coffee shop used to be. We need to talk about what we're dealing with here. A black hole isn't actually a hole at all, despite what the name suggests. It's a region of space where matter has been crushed into such incredible density that gravity becomes so strong, not even light can escape. Think of our sun, which has a gravitational field 28 times stronger than Earth's. Now imagine cramming all that mass into a sphere just a few miles across. The gravitational forces would be absolutely mind-bending. But here's where things get interesting. Not all black holes are created equal, and the type that appears on Earth would determine just how spectacularly we're all doomed. Let's start with the smallest possibility and work our way up to the truly terrifying scenarios. First up, we have primordial black holes. These hypothetical tiny objects formed in the early universe and could be as small as atoms but as massive as mountains. If one of these microscopic monsters suddenly materialized in your backyard, you might not even notice at first. It would immediately begin falling toward the center of the Earth, passing through solid rock like it wasn't even there. The tunnel it carved would be 700 times thinner than a human hair, so unless you happened to be standing directly in its path, you'd probably survive the initial encounter. But here's the catch. As this primordial black hole falls through the Earth, it would start gobbling up matter along the way. Every atom that crosses its event horizon would disappear forever, adding to the black hole's mass and making it slightly more dangerous. The process would generate heat, similar to how matter falling into supermassive black holes powers some of the brightest objects in the universe. Now, let's step up to something more substantial. Imagine a stellar mass black hole, the kind that forms when a massive star dies. These beasts typically weigh in at anywhere from 3 to 20 times the mass of our Sunday. If one of these appeared on Earth's surface, the effects would be immediate and catastrophic. The moment it materialized, everything within several miles would experience gravitational forces unlike anything in our solar system. The difference in gravitational pull between your head and your feet would be so extreme that you'd be stretched apart in a process scientists cheerfully call spaghettification. Stephen Hawking first popularized this term when he described a fictional astronaut being stretched like spaghetti while crossing a black hole's event horizon. But the real nightmare would just be getting started. The black hole wouldn't simply sit there politely, it would immediately begin sinking toward Earth's center, carving out a path of destruction. Any matter it encountered along the way would vanish beyond the event horizon, feeding the black hole and making it grow larger and more dangerous. The gravitational disruption would trigger massive earthquakes as the very structure of our planet began to destabilize. Ocean tides would become chaotic, weather patterns would collapse into madness, and the careful gravitational balance that keeps our atmosphere in place would start to unravel. And we haven't even talked about the truly apocalyptic scenario yet. What happens when something like Sagittarius A star, the supermassive black hole at the center of our galaxy, decides to pay Earth a visit? This monster contains the mass of over 4 million suns, compressed into a region smaller than our solar system. If a supermassive black hole like Sagittarius A star suddenly appeared on Earth, we wouldn't even get the courtesy of a gradual apocalypse. The moment this 4 million solar mass monster materialized, Earth would be torn apart faster than your brain could process what was happening. The tidal forces alone would rip our planet into component atoms within milliseconds. But let's back up and think about this more systematically. What if these black holes didn't all appear at once, but started popping up randomly across the globe? Picture this. You're watching the morning news when the anchor suddenly looks confused and presses her earpiece. "We're getting reports of some kind of disturbance in downtown Tokyo," she says. The live feed cuts to a news helicopter circling what appears to be absolutely nothing, except cars and buildings are sliding toward an invisible point in the middle of an intersection. That's your first clue that a black hole has arrived. You wouldn't see the black hole itself because, well, it's black. What you'd see is everything around it behaving very strangely. Streetlights would bend toward the center, their metal poles stretching and warping. Cars would slide sideways across the asphalt as if pulled by an enormous magnet, but instead of stopping when they hit something solid, they'd simply vanish into what looks like empty space. The news helicopter would be the next to go. Despite the pilot's best efforts to maintain altitude, the aircraft would spiral inward, getting faster and faster as it approached the event horizon. The last transmission would be the pilot's voice, stretched and distorted by the extreme gravitational time dilation, until the signal cuts out entirely. Meanwhile, thousands of miles away, another black hole appears in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. The effect on the water would be mesmerizing and terrifying. Instead of the ocean surface being relatively flat, there'd suddenly be a massive whirlpool with water flowing toward the center at incredible speeds. But this wouldn't be like any whirlpool you've ever seen in nature. The water wouldn't just spiral around and around. It would accelerate to a significant fraction of the speed of light before disappearing forever. So there you have it. Whether we're dealing with microscopic primordial black holes, boring invisible tunnels through the Earth, or supermassive monsters instantly shredding our planet into cosmic dust, one thing is clear. Black holes appearing on Earth would definitely ruin everyone's day. The good news? The universe seems perfectly content keeping these gravitational nightmares safely tucked away in the depths of space, where they belong.